Hello, everyone. Happy Halloween. Welcome to our KaiNexus Training Team Office Hours webinar, aka the Banna Rippey Show, episode 23.
We're getting old.
It's Michael Jordan right there. Little Chicago action for you, Banna.
Greatest of all time.
If you're wondering why I sound dead, I am currently feeling a little under the weather. I went ahead and enjoyed a cold and rainy mischief night last night and did not dress appropriately, so here we are.
He's all bundled up now.
But unlike Banna, I do not miss webinars, so here I am. My name is Ryan Rippey, and my official title now, as of our KaiNexus user conference, is Product Manager.
Congratulations.
Here at KaiNexus.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Solutions Engineer Matt Banna.
I gotta tell you, man, I am so excited for Thanksgiving. Like, I don't really care about the turkey, but the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, the mashed potatoes, the pies is gonna be great.
Wait, what did you just say?
I thought that I was pretty clear. I'm excited for Thanksgiving and all the food and everything like that. What's so confusing?
Well, for starters, today is Halloween. Were you just gonna skip over that altogether?
Oh, yeah, I guess I am. So Thanksgiving coming up. I'm so ready.
You know what, Banna? Never mind. We better get on with this webinar because we got a lot to go through and I don't have time for you today. So for those of you new to our webinar series, welcome aboard. The way this works is we plan to nerd out for the next 30 minutes or so, probably going to be over 30 minutes. I'm just going to call it right now. We got a lot of information. This is a huge release. No spoilers. Now everybody knows what we're going to talk about.
Oh, sorry.
So bear with us. We probably are going to go a little bit over 30 minutes, but I promise you it's going to be a lot of valuable information on the KaiNexus topic that we will share with everyone in just a bit. The purpose of these webinars
is nothing from me. I didn't say anything.
Purpose of these webinars is for us to review the hottest topics and latest and greatest features suggested by you, our customers. So before I go ahead and reveal the topic that everyone's already aware of, let's go ahead and go over some of the housekeeping items. No, Banna. Now, the webinar is being recorded, so we'll go ahead and send out the slides and recording to everyone after the webinar. Also, if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type those into the chat box. We will do our best to answer those in real time as well as at the very end of the webinar if we have some time left over. All right, so let's take a look at our webinar topic for today, which is our 2.4.0 release.
Huge, massive.
So this release came out about 2 weeks ago. This was our biggest release to date. And so we are forever? We are going to spend the time today going over some of the major features that are a part of the 2.4.0 release. So let's take a look at the agenda. We are going to start out with some search enhancements. We're going to take a deep dive into the boards and cards in KaiNexus, some enhancements there. We're going to jump over into the list section and go over a couple of enhancements there. Spend some time in our items. While we're there, we'll take a look at some common enhancements, a couple of new feature functionality for archiving items, the ability to review items, set items as recurring. We'll take a look at a couple chart enhancements as well as a few PDF Excel enhancements. And one of the new things that Banna and I are going to introduce as part of these webinars now are pro tips. Pro tips. So keep an eye out. We have about 10 pro tips in here that you're going to keep hearing us say pro tip. And if you get annoyed by that, we apologize in advance. All right,
if you get annoyed, you can fill it out in the comment at the end of the show.
Just let us know that you don't appreciate the pro tips. All right, let's jump out of our slide deck here. And we're going to jump into KaiNexus. Banna, why don't you start us off with a couple of the new features that we have specifically when searching in KaiNexus?
Well, one of the newest search features is a most recent options within the search. So if you search for a couple things after you've logged in, you'll now get this little icon right here that's sort of back in time looking icon.
Back to the future.
Back to the future. Once you hit that, it'll show your search history. we've already searched for part pres. We always search for part pres, so it knows what we're looking for. You can click that and it'll pull everything up. Boom. Search history.
Love it.
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
Pro tip. You can now unselect or make an only option in the search window for projects, improvements, incidents, tasks, cards, people, boards, everything at the top there. All you have to do is hover over. You can hit only, and it'll only pull up improvements. Pretty cool.
I love it, Banna. That is a
fantastic
pro tip.
Pro tip.
Now, is that all you got in the search window?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, you know what? I am about to blow everyone's minds with some boards and cards enhancements.
With science?
Yeah, with some KaiNexus science. Is that what the developers call it? I think they call it coding. So
magic to me.
We are going to talk first and foremost about managing boards. So manage boards gives you the ability to visualize and manage your entire board structure in KaiNexus. And this is really to help simplify the board management for your improvement leaders. So what you'll notice is if you click on the board picker here, in the drop down, you're now going to have this new option for manage boards. So from here, you can toggle between all of the public boards that you have access to in KaiNexus, as well as your specific private boards. You can search for a specific board. And then if you want to go ahead and select one of these boards, that'll go ahead and open up a new tab that'll take you directly to that board in KaiNexus.
It's pretty sweet.
Just let it load, Banna, let it load.
You see all the boards at once.
So here's that personal board I just clicked on. If we go back, you'll also notice that as you hover over boards, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of other new features with boards, but you'll have the ability to share a board, which will allow you to grab a uniquely generated URL to that board. You'll also be able to promote boards as well as hide boards directly from this screen here.
Please do tell us.
Oh, we're going to jump into that a little bit more, Banna. Just an update though, keep an eye out for our next release where you're going to have a whole bunch of additional options available here, where you're going to be able to copy boards, delete boards. It's going to get crazy.
I was going to ask, can you tell us what they are? And you just came out with it.
I won't tell you everything. I want to save some content for our next webinar. But before we get into the hiding and promoting, we're going to actually take another look at a pro tip.
Pro tip.
Pro tip. So one of the things we've now enhanced in KaiNexus is what we call board breadcrumbs. So board breadcrumbs lets you see the boards above and below where you currently are within your board hierarchy. This allows you to easily navigate the board menu that we just saw, so you can see where you've been, see where you are, and of course see where you can possibly go. And the way that you're going to do that is when you're on a board, click on the arrow here at the top to see any nested boards. In this case, we have a couple of boards that are underneath personal. So those, if you click on that, it'll take you directly to that board. If you click on, for example, the middle arrow here, you can see any other boards that are nested at the same level as the personal board, right? So you can see all of those other children boards of the Welcome to the KaiNexus demo.
So we have personal, project, strategy, certification classes. If we jump in there, it mimics that exact structure.
Perfect, Banna. All right, so now we'll get into the hide and promoting of boards.
I'm so excited.
So let's start with hide, Banna. Hide, purpose here is we want to potentially remove boards from our personal board list dropdown so that you can only see the boards that are most important to you and simplify really what is visual here in that board picker navigation dropdown. So to hide a board, let's say for example, is it okay if I hide this personal board, or are we going to need this later?
I think we're going to need this one. You should hide a different board.
Let's go to a different board. What if we jump over to KaiNexus implementation?
Yeah, we don't need that.
Is this safe?
We're already implemented. We're fine.
So let's take a look at the KaiNexus implementation board. Hi there, Jake. We're going to come up to the ellipsis in the top right of the board, and you're going to notice a new option for hide. And so if I go ahead and hide this board, you'll see that the board has been hidden, and so it will now no longer appear initially in the board picker dropdown. So if I come back in here, you'll see if I go back over to admin, I don't have access anymore to that.
It's like a ghost.
Whatever this is called, KaiNexus implementation board.
Halloween tricks. disappeared.
Keep going, man. So what this means, let's say, oh no, I hid that board. How do I get back to that board? The board will be accessible through a link. So if somebody goes and grabs that link and sends it to you, you'll be able to do that. You can still search for the board and find it. You'll also be able to come back into that manage boards area where you'll be able to see that board. So in this case, where were we, Banna? We were down here, right? KaiNexus implementation, you'll see there it is hidden. So if I want to go ahead and unhide that board, I can do that directly from the manage boards as well. So that's hiding boards, right?
What about promoting? Tell me about
promoting boards is kind of the opposite, right? So with promoting boards, you're able to pin the most important board to the top of that board list for easy access to your favorite boards. So similar to what we did with hide, if we click on the ellipsis, you'll see the option to promote. And so if I want to go ahead, let's do a different board, Banna. Let's go down to, let's say we want to promote our bottleneck board. So we'll jump over the bottleneck board. In the ellipsis, we'll promote this board. And so now what that does is it moves the board to the top level menu. So when I come back here in the board drop-down picker, you're going to see that the bottleneck board is now at the first level for me. It's also still accessible. If we come back down, where were we? Strategy, personal, projects. No, we were in admin. So you'll see the bottleneck board is still in its original place, but it just goes ahead and really adds a copy of that board, if you will, to the top level so that you can quickly access that.
Now, you may also remember that that star icon used to be for your home dashboard, and we have changed that.
That's a good point, Banna. Yeah, so we changed the icon for when you are making or clearing your default board to be this board icon that we use elsewhere in the product. So not to be confused with our new promote and unpromote feature, which is taking advantage of the star icon. And as you can see here, if you want to unpromote a board, you can just go ahead and click on the ellipsis and unpromote that as well. Just a couple of key things to keep in mind here is if you promote a public board, it's going to show that board above any of your other public boards. If you promote a private board, it'll show that above any of your other private boards. Any nested boards under your promoted board will also come along with it. So for example, Banna, if we wanted to promote personal, it would also give us old huddle board and team results.
Very cool.
We would be able to get those underneath there as well.
I actually didn't even know that one. I'm learning stuff too.
You're learning stuff too?
I'm learning stuff too.
Well, that's my goal, man. Are you ready for this pro tip I'm about to give you now?
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
So pro tip, if you right click, let's say we are looking at our bottleneck board. If you right click now on that board, you'll notice that you can open that board in a new tab. This is something that used to drive me crazy, man. I'd have to go open the new tab, find the board. Now you can quickly do that. You can also do it from items. So here we actually have a whole bunch of items being displayed on our board. If you right click on an item in any view type, you'll get that option to open that in a new tab as well.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Ben, I had a couple other things that I wanted to talk about boards wise. I have here that you can now nest private boards. Do we have something in here that I can take a look at that?
We don't have a single private board.
Well, here we go. Welcome to, oh no, these aren't private boards. Okay.
We can make a private board.
All right, let's go ahead. We'll create a private board.
Just take one of those and turn it. Take that one.
Take this, my dashboard. Make this private.
Yep.
So public boards, you'll remember that you could use that nesting structure. Every time you wanted to create private boards, they were always at the top level though. So now if you want to go ahead and nest private boards inside one another, you'll be able to do that. So we'll see that we moved the nest under.
Still nest things.
Exactly. We moved the nest.
There before.
This used to only show up, this nest under was if you made the board public. And so now if I have, 5 or 6 private boards and I want to all nest those underneath another board, you can go ahead and take advantage of the nesting for private boards.
It doesn't say pro tip for nesting private boards on our script,
you think
but I feel like it's
a pro tip as well?
I feel like it's so pro tip.
Do you want to drop the pro tip?
Pro tip.
All right, beautiful. Banna, why don't you take us over to the list section and show us
I would love to.
Cade's favorite feature of this release.
So we're going to jump over to our list section here on the left-hand side. We have to wait for every item in the entire organization to load.
Yeah, let's switch this over to a nice list view.
And switch it to list view.
What is that, Banna?
They are called quick filters.
Oh my God, tell me more.
You can now build lists using quick filters, and it makes it easier and more efficient to create a list. Look at this. Like I can pick anything I want, a status, boom, planned. Here's all my planned stuff.
Oh my
Just from
God.
there. Or what if I wanted to pick a template type? Oh, it's right here. These are all the super easy ones. Everybody uses all these
Sweet.
filters.
Yeah,
all the time.
we got role on team, so I can see items specific to my team member role. I got status, location, workflow, project improvement task, or specific template type. This is extremely powerful.
These are the most common ones. Everybody uses. So boom, easy to make lists.
You're flying through your, like, I'm excited about your features, but oh my God, okay.
I'm excited. I'm flying. That's why I'm so excited. I'm talking so fast.
All right, I'm looking at what we got next here, and it looks like there's going to be a pro tip.
Pro tip.
Let's click into. We can click into anything here,
Anything.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything.
So pro tip here: if you are in an item, go ahead and hover over the item number. So you'll see here with need guideline for returning equipment number 170. If I hover over this, you'll see a little icon which pops up, where if I go ahead and select that icon, it's actually going to copy the link or the URL to this item, where I can now go ahead and share that with anybody.
Pro tip.
Pro tip. This is amazing.
That's a pro tip.
I love it. Banna, while we're on this item, I want to talk a little bit about the timeline search. So if we scroll down, we'll have a section here for our timeline. So our timeline panel. You can now search an item's timeline. So if you want to find specific activity on an item more easily, maybe you are trying to see date changes, maybe the due date change. I know that's a big one that people kind of want to track. So in this case, let's say, look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 that I can see just here in the timeline of updated. So let's do, if I just go ahead and click on the little magnifying glass icon, I can search my timeline. Maybe I'm just searching for a specific update, hit enter, and now we can see any of those updated that are shown here. Updated the parent, updated the duration. If I wanted to look specifically for like due date changes, I went ahead and used due as a keyword here. Now I can see when the due date has changed on this item. This timeline search is extremely powerful, extremely useful.
If you were doing a big project and you had so many people coming in and coming out and making all these changes, how are you going to find the exact change you're looking for?
Exactly.
Boom.
Timeline search.
Timeline search.
Pro tip?
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
All right, Banna. You picked all of the great features in this release. Talk to me about comments, man. Do you want to jump in a new item?
You specifically said, can you please assign out what everybody should talk about in this? And I did that.
Yeah,
I did that.
And you took the good stuff.
I did take the good stuff. So comments. Couple new features about our comments. That first one is you can now tag a user in the comment to send them a notification. So before, you write a comment, you say, all right, I want to email this person that comment, send it to notifications. Now all you have to do is say hit add, and then you get that list of comment names. So you can pick whoever you want, and you will tag them in a comment, and then it'll look like this.
And that'll send them a specific notification that says, hey, you've been mentioned on this comment?
That will.
I mean,
imagine if we go into our notifications, and what if we were tagged in a comment?
Ah, look at that.
Coincidentally, we were tagged in a comment. It says we were mentioned.
Mention the comment. I can see what the comment was. I can like or acknowledge directly from there. Oh man, that's amazing.
It looks like Jeff tagged us in this comment.
Jeff's using KaiNexus?
That's not true. All right, we're gonna jump back into our home board. So we got more comment things.
Show me more.
Show me more. All right, back into PartPres. You can also reply to a comment.
No way.
So if you have a comment that somebody said and you want to start your own thread of communication, you can reply directly here. So here we are as Greg. Jeff replied directly to us. He also thinks that the work that we didn't do in this improvement is really great. And here we go.
So you'll notice as you're hovering over, for example, Greg's comment, the edit and delete, these are specific to comment administrators. These used to show up as you hover over to the right, but now you also see the ability to reply. You're gonna see the ability, spoiler, sorry, I won't get in there yet. But just to show you exactly what this looks like, let's pretend that we wanna come in here, reply to Greg. Yes, they are. Go ahead and post that.
Thanks, other Greg.
Greg to Greg.
Greg to Greg.
And so now we can start to see the chain of communication here within that specific comment.
That's pretty cool. That's brand new. That's awesome.
Brand new. comments are just have gotten so powerful, so many options here now. What's the next thing you got for us?
So we said that we can mention people.
Mention people.
We can now reply to a comment.
Reply to comments.
We can also pin a comment. So say that you're in a thread and you see a comment, you're like, wow, this is really important. I want to make sure that everybody sees this one first. Well, Henry said, let's check out these before and after photos. You know what? Everybody should check out those before and after photos. So we hit pin, and now that one is at the very top of our comment list. It always sticks at the top. You can pin multiple comments if you got a couple important ones that you want to see. You just cannot pin a comment thread with a reply.
Great point, Banna. Yes. So if you do have a comment that's been replied to, current functionality, you won't be able to pin those. You'll see that we have the pin icon here. And as Banna mentioned, you can pin multiple comments. If you need to unpin as you hover over, you see they have the ability to do that as well. So we have now the ability to mention, we have the ability to reply, and we have the ability to pin comments.
We sure do.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we sure do.
One of the things I just wanted to point out as a pro tip is make sure to hover over the various flags and icons that you get here in the comments section so that you can view the details of what that flag is. Before we had a red flag in here that was letting us know that there was a new comment. When you hover over that, you'll get some information. You'll be able to click that, which will clear out the red flag if you have that new comment.
Comments.
That's comments.
Comments.
I love it.
How great is that?
It's amazing.
All right, so I know that you said that you wanted some good features.
Do I have some now?
So I gave
you gave me a couple good features?
I gave you a good one.
All right. Let's talk about the next thing on our list here.
Brand new, it's massive.
This is the archive functionality of items in KaiNexus. So archive lets you remove items from circulation while still maintaining a record of their existence in KaiNexus.
Are you excited about this one?
I'm pretty excited about this one.
All right.
You can now essentially remove items without having to delete them, right? So if you don't want them to hit reports, we'll see exactly what this is going to look like. But taking a look at part pres here, from within the items ellipses in the top right, in the drop down, you're going to see the option to archive. And so if we go ahead and select archive here, let's quickly kind of go over the bullets that we see here. When an item is archived, no new notifications are going to be generated on that item.
So it won't go overdue or anything like that. It's just stuck.
That's another thing. Is it's going to move into this quote unquote archive status where there's no new notifications. It's not going to be editable. You're not going to see it in lists initially. There is the ability to go in and we'll see what that looks like if you want to find your archived items. It's going to be excluded from reports. That's extremely important to understand. If you have items that you want to not hit your reporting in KaiNexus, you can go ahead and archive them.
Yeah, so say we put in a resolution here and we saved a bunch of money and then we archived it. It won't be there.
It's going to pull that right out of the reports, yep. It does remain accessible in the system for future reference. And any sort of dependencies, voting, nesting structure, none of that is going to be affected by this. So once we come in here to archive, you'll see you can give a reason for archiving, and then we'll go ahead and hit archive. This now in the status picker in the top left is going to move this into a, spoilers, purple.
Look at that purple.
That is a brand new color in KaiNexus. So it is now in this archived state, if you will. One of the things that I want to point out is so if you want to go ahead and access those archived items, for example. So let's go ahead and jump over into, you can come right in here, right? Come in here. So if you're trying to filter for archived items, what you'll do is you'll come down here to the view options and you'll see that there are some buttons here for, so you can, for show archived, exclude archived is by default, right? If I only want to see a list of archived items, I can select only archived. Or if I want to have a mixed list to see both, I can select both. So this is how you can get back to those archived items in a list view.
That's great.
All right, so of course we lost our part pres here on the card because it's now archived.
Yeah, it's gone. We gotta refix your filter.
I gotta mess with my filters now?
Yeah.
You didn't set me up for success there, Banna.
You just talked about how you can save it and then
Both.
you can't figure it out. Yeah. Boom.
There it is. Oh, look at that purple. Let's click into part pres. So to unarchive, it's as simple as either clicking on the status picker, and in the dropdown you can unarchive. You can also come back to the ellipsis again. So we'll go ahead now and unarchive this item. Once you unarchived it, it's going to be restored to its prior status. The team will get a notification. You'll now be able to, of course, access it in lists. It's going to be included in your reports again. And as we said before, from a dependency, voting, nesting, none of that is going to be affected. So we can go ahead and unarchive, and this will move it right back into the previous status that we had it in. So that's archiving.
See, big one. You got a
like
cool
it.
feature.
Oh, you gave me another one too, though.
I did.
We have review in here. Okay, so we talked archive. Now let's talk about reviewing items. So if you want to schedule any item in any status at any time for future review so that you don't forget to review an item, you'll notice in the ellipsis again, there's also now an option to review. So we go ahead and click review here. We can give a reason for reviewing, and we can also include when that review date should be. So let's say we want to review this in 90 days. Go ahead and save that.
90 days is 2020. Can you believe that?
We're in 20. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. This will send a notification to the team. It's going to add a review by date over here in the date section. Using the advanced filter, you'll be able to filter down a list of items scheduled for review. So let me go ahead and show what that looks like. Come back in here, edit. I believe it's under our, we'll use the review date, for example. So review. So we'll have the review by. So when it's set for, once we review, we'll be able to see items that we've reviewed on as well. So we have these new options here to filter down for those. Let's come back into part pres. So once the item is ready for review, the team is going to receive that notification. And so when you click in, you'll see the flag here at the top. We can go ahead and review, or if we go down the date section, there's the ability to review as well. So we can click into review, can give some notes, include what that reviewed on date was, and then we'll go ahead and save. And so now we've marked this item as review. We'll see in the date section that there's the reviewed on date. And as we saw before, you'll be able to filter down all those items that you reviewed as well.
Awesome.
So for those of you KaiNexperts, you might remember like going through the resolution process. You have the ability to schedule a review on an item in the future. That was just limited to completed items that had gone through that resolution process. This review is much more powerful. As I mentioned, you can do this for any item in any status at any time if you want to set that review for you and your team. How am I doing so far, Banna?
You're doing pretty good.
You took recurring?
I did take
Oh
recurring.
my God,
I gave you archive and review. Brand new to KaiNexus is recurring items. Now this is something that we know a lot of people have been asking for. You say, hey, well, what if I have standard work and I need to do a task every month? Do I have to make a task every single time? Well, you used to, not anymore. So to recurrent item, you hit the ellipses button. We have this new option for recur.
So just one thing to note that we do have to set this up at the template level.
Yep.
So if you want to have a specific task type in your organization that can be a recurring item, just make sure you reach out to your customer experience lead so we can turn this on for you. The recur option will not show in the ellipsis by default.
I think this will probably be most useful in things like charts or tasks. Like if you have a chart that you need to recur every month, you can make it recurring by hitting yes, and you can click once it's completed. Do you want it to reopen? Like for a chart, maybe it closes after you update your metric, and then you can have it reopen once you're done. And then you say how often. So maybe it's the first of the month. We need our chart to reopen. And then how many days do you want it to be doing, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between the reopen versus create new copy is the reopen is going to use the same item, whereas the create new copy will go create a new task for you to do.
So if you create a new copy, it's going to make an exact copy of the item that you had. Now you can copy the fields and attributes if you like. If not, you can just make a blank copy.
Start from scratch, yep.
You can say how often. If you say the day of the week, maybe you can pick, I want it to recur every Tuesday. I have an audit check that I need to do, and I only want one day to complete it. And now it will create a new copy of this exact item every Tuesday till the end of time.
Beautiful. Go ahead and save that, Banna, because we can see now that to visualize this, over in the top left of the item, it's going to add that recurring icon to the left of the status
Boom.
picker. So you'll know that this is a recurring item. There's also the ability to filter for recurring items. So if you want to jump over into the filter, Banna, underneath the additional criteria, you'll be able to filter down a list of any of those items that you have marked for recurring.
Filter for
way at the bottom. There it is.
recurring?
So yeah, so you can basically maybe like on your board you have a, hey, here's my projects, here's my improvements, here are my recurring tasks, for example.
Yes.
Right? You'll be able to filter down a card for that. Love it.
Recurring. Awesome.
We're doing pretty good on time, man.
I already set up recurring for my items.
Oh yeah,
my
this was
awesome.
this was the first feature that I implemented in my day-to-day workflow.
Yes.
I mean, it helps a lot with standard work, especially too. So that's a big piece to it.
I knew it was coming out for a month and I just wanted it already. I was like, can we please just push it to us and like they can get it later?
Ben, I need to jump into a bar line chart if you don't mind.
We need a chart.
I need a chart.
All right, we need a chart. We're gonna go to a super secret menu.
So we got a couple of other quick feature enhancements that we want to make everybody aware of here with the 2.4.0 release.
Pick your chart.
None of these are what I want. Can we go to?
Oh, I thought I did really good. I thought.
Oh, we can't create a chart either? No. You're killing me. Just a simple bar line chart.
A simple bar line chart. Well,
template type.
Well, that's crazy.
Chart.
Now we can just pick
you don't
chart,
want planned?
and I don't want planned.
Oh my God, that was so quick.
Boom.
I love it. You think this one is going to be a regular chart?
I do not know.
We'll find out.
I feel like there's going to be nothing in that one.
That's fine. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So what I want to point out here is
it's like almost like we planned it.
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
Thank you.
Pro tip.
We now have the ability to handle time in your run charts. And so it's going to be easier for me to show this as I explain it. So let's say, for example, we're going to create a series. So we'll do our series here. Let's go ahead and save this. And then we are using date as our row type right now. You'll notice that with date selected, you now have this new checkbox option for show time on chart. So if I go ahead and select this and save, let's say we want to build out a couple of rows. We'll do start today, just go through till Wednesday of next week. We'll just do day. All right, so we got some data here. We'll just fill out some information. And the one thing I want to point out is, for example, let's say on October 31st, I have a morning shift where I want to log a data point. So let's say that at 12 a.m. rather, let's do it for, maybe it was 9 a.m. So I can do 9 a.m. And now what I can also do is I can do the same day and say, hey, I also have a 5 p.m. data point that I want to log.
Are you saying that we can put multiple data points on the same day now?
Multiple data points on the same day. That's
crazy.
That's what I was trying to.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Banna. So we go ahead and save this. We'll see that you can now have 2 data points in October. And so we have our 5 p.m. We're going to have our 9 a.m. as well. So now you can, so for example, you have that morning shift, that evening shift, and there's a data point you're tracking on a chart. With this new concept of the ability to handle time, you can essentially now have multiple data points per day.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
One of the other things is we're actually looking at the date right now. But if, for example, we wanted to switch this over to category, if you have some extremely long category names, if you come into the options section, you'll see the ability to truncate those. So another pro tip.
Pro tip.
If you want to truncate those category names and determine how many characters you want to display so that it looks a little bit better on your chart, we've also added the ability to do that as well.
Chart pro tips.
Chart pro tips. Yeah, this is all pro tips from here on out. So the last thing that I want to talk about, Banna, is going to be how we now have enhanced the ability to resize your images and chart thumbnails when you're adding those to a field in KaiNexus. Do you have an example where you've done this, or we can play around with it?
Yeah, so we have a chart thumbnail right here.
Perfect.
And we can go in and open up and edit that.
So what Banna is doing here is Banna is now associating the either percentage or pixels of how that specific chart thumbnail or image should be displayed in that field.
So you'll just click in, you'll use that vertical bar.
It's called a pipe, I believe.
It's called a vertical bar or a pipe. Those are the official
pipe
names.
is the technical term, I believe.
It's the same.
Okay.
I looked it up.
So what we're now going to look at here with the chart thumbnail is we've gone ahead and made that 50%. And so now you'll see how it increases the size of that. If we go back into that edit window though, just to understand how to best utilize using the pipes and percentages and pixels, hover over this little info icon here and you'll see the format options. So there where it says format options for images, you'll be able to associate with pixels and it'll explain to you how to use the pixels. You'll also be able to use percentage as well. So if you have 2 chart thumbnails or maybe 2 images that you've added in the same field, this will allow you to mess around with those so that you can get them all on the same line, for example. And this is going to help a lot when it comes time to PDFing these items and helping it look really good.
Pretty awesome. Very cool.
So just another pro tip there. And Banna, that's everything that I had on the agenda. We didn't do too bad. We're about 6 minutes over. We got a few closing remarks.
Okay, don't leave yet. I do have a special surprise. I know sometimes people start to jump off right as I get into my closing remarks.
Announcement alert.
I do have a guest appearance coming up.
I guess a surprise appearance.
So thank you everybody so much for our time today. We hope these are valuable. We have a lot of fun doing it if you couldn't tell. But we definitely appreciate your feedback. Maybe we used pro tip a little too much. To check out all of our webinars from this year and last year, head over to kainexus.com/webinar/office hours. Be sure to sign up for the Banna Rippey show in December. It'll be our last of the year, so don't miss it. Until then, we encourage you to register for a product coaching sessions webinar with our very own Adam Darnell. Adam, can you please tell us more about this? I have a special guest. Welcome Adam Darnell to the show.
Hey! Thank you both so much. I have to say it is an honor to be on the one and only Banna and Rippey show.
I'm touched. This is great.
Of course, So leading the training enablement team here at KaiNexus, I'm constantly looking for new ways to empower our users. So after some deep thoughtful reflection, an idea hit me. Product coaching sessions, as Banna said. These are going to be monthly sessions. Offer an open, relaxed environment you can hop into and get your burning questions answered. These also provide a great opportunity to see how other KaiNexus customers are using the system. Basically how this works, upon registering, you'll be prompted to post your question ahead of time, so I can prepare a list that we can kind of comb through and work throughout the session. Ideally, we keep these sessions to 10 attendees maximum, so they can really take time to dig into each question. Spots will fill up quickly. So with all that being said, keep an eye out for future blog posts and registration details for more information. Thank you guys again. This has been great.
That'd be great. I mean, I know sometimes you guys ask questions when you sign up for our webinar. Adam's definitely going to be the way to get all those answered because sometimes they don't fit into our topic. So that'd be great. You can ask your questions. You can hop in. You get some one-on-one time with our very own Adam Darnell. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, Banna Rippey show's got a little bit of competition now. I like it.
Watch out.
If you guys have any questions or need assistance with configuration of some of the things you saw here today, like that reoccurring, remember you got to get that set up on the back end. Please reach out to your KaiNexus customer experience lead. Hey, look, it's Adam.
Hi, Adam.
That's me.
In the meantime, we encourage you to check out our support page at support.kainexus.com. I'm Matt Banna. He's Ryan Rippey.
And he's Adam Darnell.
And I'm Adam Darnell.
Thanks for tuning in.
And we'll see you Kai next time.